Here's your wrestling news for January 6, 2026. Your headlines for today include WWE fast-tracking Blake Monroe to the main roster, backstage reaction after controversial star linked to holiday tour injuries, scary head landing on Raw sparks immediate backstage concern, what really happened between WWE management and Liv Morgan at Gorilla, fans call out Gunther AJ Styles segment after Raw, why WWE suddenly wrote Stephanie Vaquer off TV, WWE's strategy revealed behind subtle Chris Jericho mentions, and more. Another WWE standout could soon be making the jump to the main roster. According to Fightful Select's Sean Ross Sapp, Blake Monroe has been the subject of internal discussions regarding a potential WWE main roster call-up. Sources indicate the idea has been actively talked about in recent weeks, with multiple people connected to the WWE Raw brand believing Monroe could be headed there. What adds another layer to the situation is that creative plans involving Monroe may already be shifting behind the scenes, with possible changes coming as early as this week. Monroe has steadily impressed in NXT with her presence and athleticism, and her name now joins a growing list of talent being prepped for bigger roles. WWE has recently promoted or teased main roster involvement for Trick Williams, Femi, Javon Evans, and Jordan Grace, signaling a continued effort to refresh the roster with NXT talent. While nothing has been officially confirmed, Monroe's name being part of active internal conversations suggests WWE clearly sees an upside in her future. Do you think Blake Monroe is ready for the main roster? And if the call-up happens, would you rather see her on Raw or SmackDown? Sound off in the comments below. Jade Cargill found herself linked to 2 holiday tour injuries, a situation that naturally should raise eyebrows backstage amongst WWE officials and talent. During a recent Q&A session, WrestleVotes addressed growing fan concern over whether WWE was holding Cargill responsible after Michin and BFAB were both pulled from live events due to injuries. According to WrestleVotes, there is currently no blame being placed on the reigning WWE Women's Championship holder. There is no heat on Jade, injuries happen, and it just so happens that the injuries coming out of the house shows both happened with her in the ring. There's no heat on her, I haven't heard that there is, she's in the clear, but that can change if more people start getting hurt under her watch. Michin suffered a shoulder injury during the holiday tour and was removed from the remaining live events. She had been working a developing program with Cargill, including a scheduled SmackDown match that was ultimately scrapped. In storyline, WWE leaned into the situation, with Cargill cutting a promo claiming responsibility for Michin's injury as a warning to the rest of the division. BFAB was later used as a replacement, but was also pulled from action after what is believed to be a possible concussion, again stemming from a match involving Cargill. WWE has yet to confirm BFAB's status, though the decision to remove her was reportedly made as a precaution. For now, Cargill remains in good standing backstage. Still, with increased scrutiny on her in-ring work following these incidents, that status could shift quickly if another injury occurs. Do you think Jade Cargill is being unfairly scrutinized, or should WWE take a closer look at how her matches are being worked? Sound off in the comments below. WWE Raw news now. In her first match back after nearly 7 months away, Liv Morgan returned to singles action against Lyra Valkyria, with Roxanne Perez in Morgan's corner and Bayley backing Valkyria. Morgan leaned into a more aggressive edge early, taking control into the commercial break. Valkyria rallied after the restart, but her momentum was abruptly halted when Morgan planted her with a sharp code breaker, another clear nod to Y2J. A tense moment followed when Valkyria went for Nightwing, only for Morgan to counter mid-move, causing Lyra to land hard on her head. The impact was audible, and Valkyria was immediately seen grabbing her nose both before and after the pin attempt. While the counter appeared rehearsed, the execution came dangerously close to disaster, raising brief concern. Chaos then broke out at ringside as Roxanne Perez attacked Bayley, prompting the role model to snap and chase her off with a steel chair. The distraction proved decisive, allowing Morgan to capitalize and finish Valkyria with Oblivion to secure the win. While it has been much more subdued of late, this was the first major instance of Bayley letting her darker, more uncontrolled side get the best of her. Hopefully, this is an indicator that her multiple personality story is back and in full force. During a Netflix commercial break, the Brooklyn crowd broke into chants of Y2J during Liv Morgan's match. Morgan clearly took offense to the reaction and responded by telling the audience to suck it, punctuating the moment with a DX-style crotch chop before the action resumed. While the exchange played well to the live crowd, the unscripted response reportedly did not go over well backstage. Sources indicate that the crotch chop in particular raised concerns, and Morgan was later advised not to repeat the gesture going forward. The moment stood out as a rare instance of Morgan leaning fully into crowd confrontation, but it also highlighted the fine line between organic reactions and moments WWE prefers to keep tightly controlled, especially during a major Netflix broadcast. Enjoying the video? A quick like goes a long way in helping us grow and deliver more wrestling news you care about. In one of the most heavily hyped Raw main events in months, CM Punk defended the World Heavyweight Championship against Bron Breakker. Punk leaned into the moment immediately, wearing a blue and yellow varsity jacket reminiscent of the gear Rick Steiner wore during the height of his Hall of Fame career. The champion controlled the early going with superior in-ring awareness, but once the show returned from commercial, Breakker took over. His speed and raw power allowed him to dictate the pace as the match escalated. As tensions rose, members of the Vision, Bronson Reed, Logan Paul, and Austin Theory attempted to interfere, only for Rey Mysterio, Dragon Lee, and Penta to rush in and neutralize the threat. Breakker nearly crossed a line when he tried to put Punk away with Punk's own finisher, but the champion countered into an STF. Breakker fought to the ropes, aided by a brief distraction from Paul Heyman. Punk knocked Heyman down and attempted a tope suicida, only to be rocked by a right hand. Breakker followed with a breathtaking leap from the top rope that sent Punk crashing through the announce table. Still, Punk survived. He countered a spear with a knee strike and sealed the win with a decisive GTS. The match largely lived up to its billing. Punk showed flashes of wear, and Breakker's inexperience in marquee main events surfaced at times, but the crowd stayed invested throughout. While the run-ins felt excessive, Breakker was protected, pushing the champion to the limit before one mistake cost him the title his father never held. How do you feel about the match? Did it meet the hype? Sound off in the comments below. Moments after Adam Pearce advised Gunther to show some restraint, especially with extra attention on this Netflix-era episode of WWE Raw, the ring general arrived at Barclays Center and did the exact opposite. Gunther immediately drew heat by proudly unveiling a new Tap Like a t-shirt, a direct callback to his December 13th victory over John Cena. The crowd showered him with boos, but Gunther leaned into it, repeatedly mocking Cena and doubling down on his claim that he made him tap out like a little. That was enough to bring out AJ Styles to a strong reaction. Styles warned Gunther to stop disrespecting Cena, but the former world champion refused to back down and even tried to justify his words. When Gunther mocked Cena yet again, this time directly in front of Styles, the Phenomenal One responded with a sharp slap across the face. Notably, Gunther didn't hesitate. Instead, he absorbed the moment, visibly furious, and walked away. Moments later, he confronted Adam Pearce backstage and demanded a match with Styles. AJ followed, continued to lay into Gunther verbally, and Pearce made it official: Gunther versus AJ Styles next week. While the confrontation clearly sets the stage for a new rivalry, the segment itself felt flat. The idea was simple: Styles calling Gunther out and humiliating him, but the execution lacked urgency and structure. The timing felt off, and the ending came across as awkward rather than impactful. The slap will likely fuel Gunther's response going forward, but on its own, this segment didn't offer much depth or escalation. Now the bigger question, do you see AJ Styles going over next week? And will WWE really hand a loss to a red-hot heel like Gunther at this stage? Sound off in the comments and let us know where you stand. WWE Raw opened with a marquee championship clash as Rhea Ripley and Io Sky looked to finally settle months of issues with Asuka and Kairi Sane, challenging the Kabuki Warriors for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. From the opening bell, the match was highly competitive, with momentum swinging back and forth between both teams. Midway through the bout, Sky delivered a sling blade onto Asuka, a subtle but meaningful tribute to a newly retired Hiroshi Tanahashi, a moment Corey Graves acknowledged on commentary, a classy nod that didn't go unnoticed by longtime fans. The closing stretch saw Ripley take control, planting Asuka with a decisive riptide. Sky followed immediately with a picture-perfect over the moonsault, sealing the victory and crowning new Women's Tag Team Champions. This was an excellent opener that set the tone for the night. The chemistry between both teams was undeniable, the pacing stayed tight, and the near falls late had the crowd fully invested. Ripley's star power continues to shine, and the women's division once again proved it can deliver on the biggest stage. Presumably, this is now setting the table for the women's tag team champions Rhea Ripley and Io Sky to move into their next feud, potentially against Nia Jax and Lash Legend, or possibly Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair, depending on which direction WWE chooses to prioritize next. Maxine Dupree and Becky Lynch added another chapter to their rivalry, with Dupree putting the WWE Women's Intercontinental Championship on the line against the veteran challenger. In the closing moments, Dupree locked in the ankle lock, seemingly on the verge of a defining win. Lynch, instead of trying to roll out of the hold, leaned backward, grabbed the bottom rope, and stole the victory and the title. Dupree's title reign ending after just one televised defense is disappointing on paper, but the bigger picture tells a different story. Working this program with Lynch elevated her far beyond where she was before, giving her credibility and exposure she simply didn't have previously. Credit to Lynch for fully committing to the rivalry and helping Dupree grow in the spotlight. While the match lacked the same heat as their earlier encounters, it may have been the strongest in-ring outing of their feud. The story of Lynch as the overconfident veteran and Dupree as the plucky underdog appears to have run its course, and the crowd reaction reflected that shift. There was one awkward moment late in the match, with Dupree attempting what looked like a backslide variation that didn't quite land and caused visible confusion. However, according to multiple reports afterward, Lynch offered Dupree advice backstage, and there were no lingering issues between the two. Now that the title has changed hands and the feud appears complete, the focus shifts forward. Where do you see WWE going with Becky Lynch as champion, and what should be next for Maxine Dupree after this loss? Sound off in the comments below. There was immediate concern backstage when Stephanie Vaquer was shown heading toward the ring wearing a walking boot, instantly raising questions about the status of her Women's World Championship. The visual alone suggested the possibility of her relinquishing the title, but Vaquer quickly shut that down once she addressed the crowd, making it clear that the ankle injury would not stop her. That confidence didn't last long. Raquel Rodriguez interrupted the moment with a brutal attack, targeting Vaquer's injured leg and attempting to further damage the ankle before officials rushed in to stop the assault. The message was clear: Raquel is still coming for the title and is willing to exploit any weakness to get it. After a commercial, Vaquer was seen being helped to the back by two officials when Rodriguez attacked again. She stood on the champion's ankle until Adam Pearce intervened and threatened to fine her and kicked her out of the building. Vaquer sat on the ground, grabbing her ankle as officials checked on her once again. This lines up with a recent dirt sheet report suggesting Vaquer has requested time off, making the angle feel like a possible write-off from television. With that in mind, should WWE capitalize on this momentum and finally put the title on Raquel Rodriguez, or is it too soon for Stephanie Vaquer's reign to end? Sound off in the comments below. Fresh off their World Tag Team Championship victory over AJ Styles and Dragon Lee in last Monday's main event, the Usos kicked off the night celebrating with the WWE Universe. During their promo, they made it clear they still view themselves as the greatest tag team of all time and issued an open challenge to anyone looking to step up in 2026, firmly re-establishing their dominance atop the division. Later in the show, another teaser for Oba Femi aired on Raw, continuing WWE's steady build toward his main roster arrival. While no details were revealed, the presentation suggests something significant is being planned for his debut, whether that happens on Raw or SmackDown. With anticipation continuing to grow around Femi's arrival, who should be his first opponent on the main roster, and why would that matchup make the most impact? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Before wrapping up, it's worth addressing Chris Jericho, because even though he didn't appear on WWE Raw last night, his presence was felt throughout the broadcast. From repeated callbacks to the walls of Jericho, references to the Codebreaker, and even Corey Graves name-dropping the Learning Tree during the main event, WWE leaned heavily into subtle Jericho teases. While that may have disappointed some fans, it's clear WWE knew exactly what it was doing. The company used strategic references to spark speculation, drive engagement, and sell tickets without actually pulling the trigger. From a promotional standpoint, it worked. WWE played the long game, and the buzz did its job. Jericho's eventual return still feels inevitable, but this wasn't the night. Instead, WWE cashed in on anticipation rather than surprise. How did you feel about WWE Raw overall? What was the best segment of the night and why? And were you disappointed that Chris Jericho didn't appear, or did WWE handle the tease perfectly? Sound off in the comments below. Don't miss our next video coming at 5:30 p.m. Eastern with all the latest wrestling updates. Smash that bell icon and select all notifications so you're always in the loop.